You're on Short Final, Ireland's aviation podcast from Squawk 7000. Here's Mark Dwyer and Michael Cummin.
Welcome to the news episode of Squawk 7000. On this week's podcast, Aer Lingus announces a return to Knock, Pádraig Ó Céidigh is to become the chair of the Shannon Group, and Vueling announces new routes to Dublin and Cork.
Aer Lingus has announced its return to Ireland West Airport Knock with a service from London Gatwick. It will return on a phased basis from the 18th of December in time for the busy Christmas period, with a full schedule resumed by March 2022. The Gatwick service was launched in 2009 and was maintained until March 2020, providing a vital link to the northwest. As Aer Lingus no longer have a base in Gatwick, the flight will operate as a W route starting and finishing in Dublin.
The Shannon Group has welcomed the appointment of Pádraig Ó Céidigh as the new chairperson designate of the board of Shannon Group. The announcement was made on Tuesday by the Minister for Transport, Eamon Ryan TD. Mr Ó Céidigh will take up his new role as chairperson for 3 years, following his appearance before the joint Oireachtas Committee on Transport and Communications. An experienced business leader and entrepreneur, Mr Ó Céidigh has extensive knowledge in the aviation sector and has a strong track record at senior levels in both the public and private sectors. He's held senior management positions, including CEO and chairman of Air Ireland, for 26 years. He's a former winner of the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award and represented Ireland at the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year. Mr Ó Céidigh served in Shannon Ireland from 2016 to 2020, and he has previous board experience with Fáilte Ireland, RTE and on board the Ishkiwara.
The IAA Aviation Regulator and the Commission for Aviation Regulation are undergoing structural changes as part of the government's regulatory reform process for the aviation sector. The Air Navigation and Transport Bill is at an advanced stage in the passage through the Oireachtas and is expected to be enacted within the next couple of months. The bill will separate the air navigation service provider into a new corporate entity called Airnav Ireland. The existing safety and security regulation functions of the IAA will be retained within the IAA. As part of the separation and setup of the new organisation, they are developing their strategy statement and business plan for the period 2022 to 2024. To support this process, the IAA has published a stakeholder consultation and invites comments from stakeholders in advance of finalising the strategy. The industry has been asked to provide any comments using the table provided and return it to consultation at iaa.ie by Tuesday 19th of October. You'll find a link to the document on the Flying in Ireland website.
Ryanair has announced that it will reopen its base at Cork Airport and restore its services to 100% of pre-pandemic levels for the summer of 2022. The airline will base 2 aircraft at the airport and serve 20 routes, including new services to Birmingham and Edinburgh, which were left unserved following the collapse of Stobart Air. This coming winter, Ryanair will serve 6 destinations in the UK: Alicante, Malaga, Lanzarote and Tenerife in Spain, and Gdansk and Poznan in Poland. These will be continued throughout the summer, along with additional routes to Spain, France, Italy and Portugal. Ryanair has now announced that it will restore traffic to pre-pandemic levels for next summer in Cork, Shannon, Knock and Kerry airports. And for more information on this and other Cork news, you can listen to our long final edition later this week, when we'll be speaking with the team at Cork Airport.
Aer Lingus has announced they will be significantly increasing their services from Belfast City Airport to London Heathrow, Manchester and Edinburgh over the coming weeks. Belfast City to Manchester will increase from its current daily schedule to twice daily flights. Belfast City to London Heathrow will gain a further 2 services, bringing it to 21 flights per week, and Belfast City to Edinburgh will increase from a daily scheduled flight to 11 flights per week over the winter. From the 3rd of November, the Belfast to Manchester flight is timed to connect with the new Aer Lingus UK service from Manchester to Barbados on Wednesday, Friday and Sunday.
The IAA is hosting a webinar next Thursday, the 7th of October at 7 o'clock, titled Wellbeing Among Aviation Professionals: Your Health, Your Life, Your Career. The webinar will be presented by Dr. Joan Cahill, Captain Paul Cullen and Assistant Professor Keith Gaynor. It's free to attend and a link is available on the events list on the Flying in Ireland website.
And one of the most popular articles on the Flying in Ireland website this week was a brief history of Echo India Alpha Papa Foxtrot. Papa Foxtrot was a Cessna 150G delivered in 1966, and Kevin McGrath follows its history from that point until he recently found the fuselage at Perth Aerodrome in Scotland. It's well worth a read.
Great article, that. Spanish low-cost airline Vueling has announced numerous new routes and expansions from its Paris-Orly base, including new services to Cork and Dublin. The new Paris-Orly to Dublin service will complement the airline's existing Barcelona to Dublin service, with a new daily service beginning on the 2nd of November. Between Paris-Orly and Cork will begin on the 22nd of November and will initially operate twice weekly, with flights on a Monday and Friday. Vueling, part of the International Airlines Group that also owns Aer Lingus, will begin its flights from Cork Airport once the runway reopens following refurbishment work.
Skyports, the operator of cargo drone deliveries and advanced air mobility infrastructure, has obtained a light UAS operator certificate from the IAA, permitting the self-authorisation of beyond a visual line of sight drone flights. This is the first such certificate issued by an EU regulator. The operator certificate is recognised in all EASA member states, allowing UAS operators to conduct flights without first submitting a declaration or obtaining authorisation from an aviation authority beforehand. Skyports is one of a handful of drone operators globally that have been granted the certification to date, after demonstrating to the regulator that as an organisation it's capable of assessing the risk of an operation itself.
Thanks, Mark, and you can find these stories and more on flyinginireland.com. And a reminder that you can listen to our long final editions. This week we're speaking with the team at Cork Airport. You'll find it from Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, and on our site squawk7000.ie. Thanks for listening.
To get the news first, subscribe now to Squawk 7000 on your favourite podcast platform.